Hello, my name is Katie. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're here to do a decent sized unhaul. I was pretty ruthless, but I have to leave for the dentist in a few minutes, so this is gonna have to also be a quick unhaul. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about a lot of these, so I guess we'll just get moving. First of all, I am unhauling my entire collection of Sean and Maguire. I have Middle Game and a bunch of the Wayward Children series. There's not really a reason that I'm unhauling these. They're good. They're solid reads. I just know that I am not going to reread them. I was going through the Wayward Children series, but I'm just not interested at this point. It's just not what I want to read. And then Middle Game was really good, but I have no desire to reread it at this point, and I don't want to continue with the series. So I just decided we're just cleaning off the shelves. We're just getting rid of stuff. Okay, I actually am getting rid of a ton of thrillers because I don't tend to reread thrillers. And if it's not something that I'm like collecting them from the authors or that I like exceptionally enjoyed, I'm just getting rid of them. This is The Couple Next Door by Sherry Lapina. I don't even remember what this was about. I think it was a missing baby. Yeah, their baby goes missing. Like I said, it was fine. I just don't care. And then I have Good Me, Bad Me by Allie Land. This is a story about a girl, I believe her mom. Yeah, her mom was a serial killer, and she's in foster care now. She's going through it. I actually really like this one, but I kind of hate the title, and I'm not a fan of the cover, and that's why I'm getting rid of it. I'm not gonna read it again. That's the other thing. Like, I just don't feel a need to keep some of these thrillers that I'm just not gonna read. This is The Orchardist by Amanda Copeland. This was fine, but this is one that was very forgettable for me. I don't know. It's about this older gentleman who has an orchard, and he ends up kind of adopting these two young girls who stagger into his orchard one night. I had a hard time getting through this because it was good, but it didn't always hold my attention. And then like I just don't care anymore. I am getting rid of The Wrong Family by Taryn Fisher. This disappointed me on so many levels. A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCrae. I don't remember what this was about at all. Not even a little bit. So I guess it's gonna go. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I don't even know how to say that last name. I am so sorry. This was fine. I enjoyed my time reading it, I guess. But again, I don't remember a ton about it at this point, and I don't feel any need to keep it. We have The Wife by Alifair Burke. This is another one that rolls under, it's a thriller that I don't remember anything about at all. We have The Searcher by Tana French. I read this earlier this year, and it wasn't bad. I just don't care. It was more... It had a mystery element more so than actually being a thriller. And, like, it was fine, but I'm never going to read it again, and I honestly don't remember that much about it. You might be able to hear my dryer. I just realized that. Sorry, but laundry's got to get done. Oh, this one's a little contentious. Piranesi by Susanna Clark. I didn't hate it. It was like very middle of the road for me. I know a lot of people really, really loved it. I just didn't exceptionally care either way. So it's gonna go. Free Fall by Jessica Berry. I really liked this cover. I thought it was cool. It's a thriller that I just picked up because I wanted to read a thriller one day. I think I was like in between my classes, and I stopped at Barnes & Noble to like do homework and ended up book shopping because of course I did. Again, I don't really remember what this is about. I read it several years ago now. I know I'm not going to read it again. I think it had something to do with like a rich dude's fiance whose plane goes down or something along those lines. We have Atomic Love by Jenny Fields. This was very disappointing. And at this point I don't remember anything about it other than that I was disappointed. It's a historical fiction. It's probably around World War II. Chicago, 1950. Rosalind Porter has always defied expectations in her work as a physicist on the Manhattan Project and in her passionate love affair with colleague Thomas Weaver. Yeah, I think, like, the guy she had an affair with, he is suspected of being a Russian spy or something along those lines. So it's actually more set in the Cold War era. But it was just very mediocre, middle of the road. Okay, I hope I'm sitting the same way. I had to get up to get my next stack. This is an unhaul for the ages. Okay, let's go through some of these mass market paperbacks that I have here. These were from my last Trash My TBR. Anthem by Ayn Rand. I just don't really have much interest in reading it. And then the two books that I have in, what is this called? The Dresden Files. Some of the feedback I got was kind of eh. And then I have had these for a very long time, and I think I've come to terms with the fact that they're not getting read. Plus, it's like a really long series, and I just don't know if I want to start that. I have The Stranger by Harlan Coben. Again, this is a thriller that I don't remember a single thing about. The Widow by Fiona Barton. I actually quite liked this one, but again, it's a thriller that I'm not going to read again, and I don't really love mass market paperbacks sitting on my shelves. So, unless I have some kind of connection to it, I'm not going to keep it. Okay, don't panic when you see this. I know there's going to be people who's like, you can't get rid of the Austen. It's Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. I have a collected works of Jane Austen. So if I decide to read them, I'll just do that and not bother with this. So, it's something that I still own. I don't even know why I have this copy too, but here we are. Okay, some other interesting things. I have Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. I read this, I enjoyed it, and then I promptly forgot it existed. Similarly, The Gospel of Loki by Joanne M. Harris. I enjoyed it, and then I forgot it existed. I actually think I learned quite a bit from these, but I have no real interest in reading them again. I don't see a point in keeping them on my shelves, so this is what we're doing. Find Her by Lisa Gardner. Once again, thriller that I'm never going to read again and don't remember much about. So, that's that. Actually, you know what? I do remember this one. So, when I tore my ACL, and I knew I was going to be sitting in the waiting room, so I brought this book when we went to the ER. And it started off, like, really traumatic. Like, this girl was kidnapped and she was like locked in this box, and I was like, I can't read this right now, I'm going through enough. So I guess even more reason to get rid of it. It ended up being a really good read. I'm not gonna read it again. It's a mass market paperback. I just can't be bothered. I have Sharp Objects. Wow, why was that so hard to say? By Gillian Flynn? Do we know? I think it's Gillian. I don't know. This was fine, but if I do anything, I'm going to watch the show, not read the book again. So this is going to go too. Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter. God, I don't remember anything about this one either, other than it was horrifying. So this one's going to go. Bring Me Back by B.A. Paris. Same thing. It's a thriller that I'm never going to read again. I've decided buying thrillers is kind of a waste, for me anyway. So I'm going to mostly get them from my library. The exception to that are authors that I already own a ton of their books, like Ruth Ware, Riley Sager, etc. But yeah, this is, there's no point. I don't even remember what this was about. I had no real connection to it, so. I actually didn't realize that I was going to get rid of this until very recently. And this is Warmly Inscribed, The New England Forger and Other Book Tales by Lawrence and Nancy Goldstone. I started reading this and have absolutely no interest in it. Like, none, as I started going through it. Maybe I should have just, like, skipped the first story and gone to another one, but, like, that's how much I don't care to read this. Is I didn't even do that. This was from one of my Trash My TBRs, I think, as well. Washington, The Making of the American Capital by Fergus M. Bordwich. I started this a little bit, I kind of like flipped through a couple chapters and skimmed and just, I don't care. Like, it doesn't seem to be adding a whole lot to what I already know about the making of the Capitol, so I'm not going to sit through and read the whole thing. The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. This wasn't bad. I think, though, that if you actually live in New York City or have some kind of connection to the city, you would enjoy this book a whole lot more than I did. This is like the various boroughs become like sentient, like there's a person who embodies them. It's very bizarre, but I've never like really spent any time in New York City, so there was a lot of things that like I just didn't understand, I didn't connect with, so there's really no point in me keeping this. I have The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. I think we all know how I felt about this. I feel a little bit bad because I know a lot of people really love it. I just didn't. Then I have Normal People by Sally Rooney. I didn't hate this when I read it. It's just very unmemorable. So unmemorable that I've been forgetting that it exists on my shelf. My eyes just skip right past it. But this time, I remembered and I managed to get it off the shelf. I have The Book of Lost Friends by Lisa Wingate. This was... It should have evoked more emotion in me than it did, and then I really, really, really hated what the author did in the epilogue. Like, I hated it. It's a lot about the Civil War and how, like, post-Civil War, people were trying to find family members and friends that they had lost during the slave years, and that's kind of like the Book of Lost Friends. That's what it is. But, like, you would think with that kind of a premise, I'd be very emotionally invested, and, like, it just didn't happen. So, I'm just gonna get rid of it. Okay, continuing on. I have a ton of, like, YA and stuff in here. I just went through, and I was just getting rid of stuff. We have Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. This is one of those, like, fantasy books without, like, magic and stuff. It's just set in a world that's different than ours. But this one was heavily Viking inspired. It was good, but I'm not going to read it again, and I can't keep everything. Next, I have The Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu. I really enjoyed this as well, but again, I can't keep everything. This is about, was it Mozart? Yeah. Mozart's sister, who was also a very gifted composer, but she was, you know, female, so nobody cared. This will break hearts. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, I DNF'd it twice, actually. The first time I was like, you know what? I'm not in the mood, I'll try again later. And then I tried again later, and I got further, but I don't understand the hype. I really don't. I didn't like the characters at all. I was very bored. So, it was one of those things where it was like, I hear the ending is amazing, but I don't even care to get to the ending. So, I'm getting rid of it. The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. It was cute, and it was actually very dark at times. But I was so bored. I found so much of it to be completely skippable. Like, it didn't matter at all. And I think part of it was, like, I just wasn't that invested in the characters, so I didn't care to spend that time with them. And I think that was my problem. So I'm getting rid of this. I have The Impossible Fortress by Jason Rakulek, or I think that's how you say it. I'm learning more and more that a lot of the times I just don't like the way male authors write. Particularly, like, when they write male characters. I just don't want to be in the head of a teenage boy, and that's what was happening here, and I was honestly just disgusted and didn't care. So, this one's gonna go. I have Churchill's Secret Messenger by Alan Hlad. I think that's how you say that. I'm really sad about this because I got it in a Goodreads giveaway, but it was just not good. Like, it's World War II historical fiction, and there is so many, like, good World War II historical fiction books out there. And this one just doesn't stand out. The character work is poor. The way the characters speak to each other, the dialogue, does not feel like real people talking to each other. And I just can't. Okay, we have The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. I actually ended up with 2 copies of this because I really enjoyed it and I thought the covers were stunning. But I realized I don't need 2 copies. I can live with just one. It's okay. So I'm getting rid of one of them. I have Fake Blood by Whitney Gardner. This is a graphic novel. And it's this, I think they're like middle school age. This boy, he has a crush on this girl. And he notices that she's kind of vampire obsessed. So he tries really hard to make himself be a vampire. But then he learns that she's actually a vampire hunter. And it was really cute, but I'm not going to read it again. So I'm getting rid of it. I have Noir by Christopher Moore. Let's revisit my discussion about I don't really enjoy male authors, particularly if I have to be in the head of a male character. So much misogynistic bullshit in this one. Oh my god. The way, like, these men would view this woman and the things they were saying and thinking, I don't even care if that's how men actually think. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to read about it. I don't want to be involved in it. So this I couldn't finish it. Next, we have The Magic Misfits by Neil Patrick Harris. This was really cute. I did enjoy this, but I'm definitely not carrying on with the series. And it's taking up space on my shelves, and I just need to get rid of some stuff, so this is going to go. This kind of breaks my heart a little bit. Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia? I'm not sure. I enjoyed this so much when I read it, but I have realized after, 5 years that I'm not reading it again, and it's just taking up space on my shelves, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of it. Next, I have How the Irish Saved Civilization. I'm not reading that entire title because it's very long. I definitely talked about this in a wrap-up or something about how I didn't like it at all. I found it incredibly boring, and I don't think they actually, proved the point of Irish people actually saving civilization, because what it boiled down to is, the priests taught them how to write, so they wrote stuff down, and I was like, I don't know, I'm just not buying it. This is the, Black Widow arc. It's 3 volumes. This was good. I enjoyed it. I'm just definitely not going to reread it, so I'm gonna get rid of it. Okay, we're almost done here. We are almost done. I have The Book of First, 150 World-Changing People and Events from Caesar Augustus to the Internet by Peter DePiro. My problem with this was he was posing these questions as though these are questions that people would legitimately be asking. Like, who was the first this and what was the first that? But they were like things that I don't think the average person, I don't think most people, I think unless you're in that specific field, you're not thinking. It was just like random stuff. And I was like, who asks these questions? And I didn't care. I didn't care about any of them because they were like oddly specific. Let me see if I can find one of them. Okay, so what was the first poetic handbook of Greek mythology? Which emperor first criminalized Christianity in the Roman Empire? What are the first surviving serial biographies of the Caesars? Who was the first philosopher king? what was the first great rabbinic compilation? Like, oddly specific. Who was the first emperor to grant Roman citizenship to all freeborn men of the empire? What was the first legal toleration of Christianity in the Roman Empire? Like, oddly specific. And it was very, very boring. We have American Dirt by Janine Cummings. I tried to read this. Okay, even let's just ignore the fact that there was like problematic elements or whatever, because I don't even really know that much about it, and I didn't read far enough into it to even care to look it up because I just found the book boring. It's about a woman who, her entire family except for her son is massacred by like a cartel or something along those lines. And she and her son are running for their lives. And I never once gave a shit. And I was like, how is this not like tugging at my heartstrings and making me like scared and anxious for them? How is that not happening? And it just wasn't, so I just gave up. I have The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. Was this good? Yes. Will I read it again? No. No. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of it. I enjoyed my time with it, and it's going to go. I have Ray Bear by Jordan Fuego, not because I didn't like it, but because I'm just not reading YA these days, and particularly not like YA fantasy series. So I know I'm not going to continue with it. I just know that, and it's just a lot of space being taken up on my shelves by books that I know I'm not finishing the series, and I know I'm not rereading. So this one's gonna go. Is it a good book? Absolutely. If you are looking for an African-inspired fantasy, this is a really good one. And my next book, The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna, also excellent examples of African-inspired fantasy. Both of these though, like I just know I'm not carrying on with the series. I just know I'm not, and it's hard when you enjoyed a book and you can recommend it, but it's just not what you read right now, and so it just seems like a waste to have it taking up space. So don't take that as like I didn't like this book and so I'm getting rid of it. I really did. I'm just not interested in continuing on with the series at this point in my life. Next I have The Hearts We Sold by Emily Lloyd Jones. This is a book that I think should have gotten more hype. It's about a girl who, she needs money for school, and she ends up selling her heart, essentially her soul, to a demon. And it was very interesting, and I greatly enjoyed my time with this, but again, I'm not going to reread it, so I'm just going to get rid of it before I think too much about it. Okay, we have Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman. God, I just didn't care. And I think maybe part of it is I haven't been following this practical magic thing, but the series, I guess. It's very odd. I just feel like Alice Hoffman keeps rewriting the same book because the titles are all very similar, and they come out and I feel like the covers look alike, and I'm like reading descriptions and I'm like, how is this any different from the other ones? I'm very confused. But yeah, this one's gonna go. I have The Prince and the Dressmaker by Jen Wang, and this was really good. This was absolutely charming. This is about a prince who likes to wear dresses, and this dressmaker keeps his secret, and it's a very cute relationship, and I liked the artwork, but again, I'm not gonna reread it, and so it's just taking up space at this point. So this one's gonna go too. I have Pride by E.B. Zaboy. This was a retelling of Pride and Prejudice. I think it would have been a much better story had the author not tried to stick so hard to that Pride and Prejudice retelling nonsense. If instead it had just been a story on its own, I think it would have been excellent. But because the author was trying to shove in all these Pride and Prejudice elements, it just really detracted from the story for me. I have Far From the Tree by Robin Benway. This is a story about these 3 siblings. They don't know they're siblings though because they've been adopted into other families. I believe they're of Hispanic descent, and they end up finding each other later on in life. The one is like 18 or so, and then they're all slightly younger. They're all in their teen years though. and the eldest brother never really did get adopted as a kid. He ended up being very troubled for a lot of years until he was an older teenager and he found a family to kind of settle in with. And then the other two were girls, and because they were babies when they went into foster care, they got adopted quite quickly. And it really discusses the difficulties that come with adoption and not knowing your family and not then finding your family and how that changes things, but also what it feels like to not belong in the family that you live in, the people who call like themselves your parents. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was heavy. It actually made me cry. But again, I'm not going to read it again, and it's just taking up space on my shelf. I really just cleared out most of my YA, I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, the last book here, A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This is one where if I revisit it, I'm probably just going to watch the movie. So I am getting rid of this as well. Okay, so that was my very large unhaul done in a very quick fashion because, like I said, I have to go to the dentist and I'm extremely excited about it. Anyway, give me all your thoughts on the books I'm getting rid of. Let me know, do you guys like to keep a ton of books, or do you like to have like a very curated collection, or do you just not own any books at all because you're a library person? I'm very curious to know these things. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you soon. Bye.